Does your child wake up at night and come looking for you? Not frightened, not in pain, not dysregulated, just because that's what they do. These are learned night waking behaviors, not misbehavior, not stubbornness, just a nighttime loop their brain has practiced so many times that it runs automatically. Today, I'll show you how these loops form, how to spot them, and what gentle steps can help your child sleep longer without needing you in the night. Hi, I'm Diane Lusney, and I support moms who have kids aged 4 to 12 on the autism spectrum who also have sleep issues. Point 1. The nighttime loop. Metaphor. The playlist that autoplays. Think of your child's brain like a playlist that autoplays the next track. Once it starts, it just keeps going unless you interrupt it. Got that image? Good. Many kids on the spectrum develop nighttime loops. They fall asleep with a particular set of conditions, and those conditions are needed to fall asleep. But yeehaw, those conditions work and they fall asleep. Then your child, just like the rest of us, wakes up briefly in the night. Unlike the rest of us, the playlist begins and they are looking for those exact same conditions to fall back asleep. These loops can include things like needing a parent beside them, needing a handheld, needing a device playing, needing rocking or pressure, needing a song or phrase, needing water or snacks, needing to be in your bed, etc., in a specific order. This is not intentional manipulation. It's pattern matching, a very common autistic strength. Whatever the brain experiences while falling asleep becomes the required input for the next sleep cycle. You know behavior or habit is involved when your child wakes calm but wants you, comes to your room silently, falls asleep quickly once you meet the set of needs, or they struggle to fall asleep independently at bedtime. What you can do. The most important step. Shift your direct involvement with falling asleep to earlier in the bedtime routine so you won't be part of those few minutes before your child falls asleep. In other words, do as much as you can to support your child falling asleep, but you should not be directly needed during those few steps just prior to them falling asleep. Have them be able to fall asleep without you. To make any changes, remove supports very gradually. Replace them with something else that can be handled independently. What physical, sensory, or emotional input do you provide? What are some other alternatives? How can you work those alternatives into the falling asleep routine? What are some replacement behaviors you can introduce before removing yourself from the equation? Keep all changes slow, predictable, and well-planned. If your child wakes and can't calm, try an activity from my free T-Zone system for relaxation and sleep linked in the description below. It helps bring the body back to a regulated state to help sleep return. Point 2. How bedtime creates night wakings. Metaphor. Picture bedtime as being similar to a software install. This example is similar to the first point but isn't quite the same. In the first example, your child wakes up in the night, as we all do, but once they realize they don't have all the steps to fall asleep, they stop themselves from falling back asleep. In this one, the lack of bedtime protocol can cause the awakening. For example, after they have fallen asleep, the chemical adenosine, which makes us tired, starts to drop. If your child is anxious and begins to unconsciously search for danger, and the safety of their bedroom protocol isn't there, they will wake themselves up, just in case there is danger. During this time, the brain might wonder, do I have all the same conditions I fell asleep with? If yes, they drift back to sleep. If no, full awakening. You know this is an issue when it takes a long time to fall asleep, needs high parental involvement, or when wakings increase on nights when the routine changes or when the parent is away. What you can do. Start here. Reduce supports at bedtime, not in the middle of the night. Change the last 3 to 5 minutes of the bedtime routine first. That's the window that the brain remembers most. Do it gradually. Replace parent contact with sensory tools your child likes. Introduce a very short, "I'll be back to check on you" routine. Use visual supports showing what to expect. The bedtime handoff is everything. Get that right, and overnight improves naturally. Point 3, gentle independence building. Metaphor. Picture this: teaching a new nighttime language. Think of this like teaching a new nighttime language, one word at a time. And by one word, I mean one tiny action. It's not about removing comfort or the feeling of safety. You're finding or translating how they are getting their needs met in a way that doesn't involve you for them to fall back asleep independently. Small steps work best. Moving from lying beside them to lying beside them, sort of. Eventually to sitting beside them, then sitting farther away and inching your way toward the door. Replacing hand-holding with a weighted toy. Replacing rocking with slow breathing together. Creating a sleep start kit your child can use. A weighted item, familiar scent, soft toy, maybe a dim light. The goal isn't independence for its own sake. It's helping your child feel safe without needing your physical presence every time they stir. What you can do. Pick one step to change, preferably the step that's closest to them falling asleep. Just one change. Explain it ahead of time using simple visuals or explanations. Practice it during the day when everyone is calm. Stay calm and predictable. Be persistent in being consistent. We all slip up, but the less often we return to our old patterns, the faster our new patterns will become our normal. Expect progress, not perfection. Commit to the process, and eventually you'll have progress. Skip anything to do with perfection. You are retraining a deeply practiced pattern. It takes time. Now that you've seen how behavior and habits create night wakings, not from defiance, but from repetition and comfort. In other videos, I've also talked about how sensory and biological factors impact night wakings. But what do you do if your child has more than one type of night waking happening, and it's all at the same time? What if it's sensory and behavioral? What if it's sensory and behavioral, or biological and habit-based? How do you know which one to tackle first? And what if you've been treating it like a behavior issue when it's actually a sensory concern, or blaming their sensory system when it's really a learned loop? I bring all three types of night wakings together and discuss what to do and how to interpret what's happening, so not only will your child make progress, you can feel good about what you commit to doing. No more guessing, no more trying random strategies, just clarity. And it's all in my next video. See you there.